Hello. I am Dr. Cosmo. Let's continue the lecture. Now, there is a saying, thoughts create reality. In the quantum theory, the consciousness determines the position of electrons. Therefore, this saying is backed by the popular belief of quantum theory. It is important for us to understand the structure of consciousness. For this, it is inevitable that we study psychology. In physics, materials can be categorized into three states. Those states are gas, liquid and solid. This is difficult to imagine when observing the individual molecules of water. However, it is easier to grasp when water is in its liquid form. When water becomes ice, the molecular structures are still the same. This is common knowledge in the field of physics. However, in the field of psychology, this is not the case. Water vapor is water vapor. Water is water. Ice is ice. They are all completely different substances. This implies that three different states are regarded as three different substances in psychology. Similarly, this is how our thoughts and feelings can be interpreted. What exactly does this mean? You may not have much interest in this talk, but let me give you one example. Let me compare this with a case where the wife tolerates her husband's domestic violence. One might think that the two personalities are completely different. However, the wife who is now subjected to violence of her husband most likely had an experience where she had bullied someone in her childhood. In other words, she was a violent person herself. However, because that lay hidden in her subconscious mind, she did not realize this fact. If one were to point this out to her, she would probably respond as follows. Now that you mention it, when I was a child, I used to hate my younger sister and often thought that she should go away. However, though I had engaged in shoving her from time to time, I never struck her. For her, to strike, to shove, or to have her disappear were all different things. However, the mind only recognizes patterns of movements. Therefore the mind treats striking, shoving, and wishing someone to go away as one and the same. This is the same as changing the state of water, though each state will have the same molecular structure. To strike. Equal. To shove. Equal. To have her disappear. Therefore, the violent husband that she sees before her is the same as the unseen violent personality within herself. Because they are two of the same, the wife cannot escape from her violent husband. There is an old saying that says, "Every man's neighbor is his looking glass." This is also known as the law of mirrors. The correct meaning is that people are a reflection of the similar figure, fractal, that lies hidden in your subconscious mind. So, if one wants to save her from her husband's violence, then there is no use trying to work on changing the husband. The proper treatment would be to remove her subconscious violent nature. Then amazingly, her husband's violence will stop. Why would it stop? Doesn't the husband have a will of his own? This mechanism will be explained using an analogy of dreams. The movie, Inception, is a good movie that would help you understand the structure of dreams. The main character, Dom, sits at a cafe in Paris and tells his female companion, Ariadne, "You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you?" From those words, Ariadne realizes, we are now in a dream. Indeed, while we are dreaming, we do not think, I am now dreaming. Then, in the dream world, while walking with Dom, Ariadne is observing people in the city. Who are these people? She asks. Dom replies, "These are the projections of my subconscious." Of course, you agree, don't you? The characters that come in your dreams are all the people that you create. It's all simply a shadow of your subconscious. Inside of a dream, our minds are like a planetarium projector, and this projector is filled with our subconscious. The subconscious thinks of a vast array of things, and the projector projects them outwards. Then, one thinks of the surrounding people as strangers, and begins to engage in a conversation with them, thinking that they are real. There is no problem up to this point, right? However, at the same time, we must think about how thoughts create reality. If our thoughts make up the subconscious, and the subconscious is made up of dreams, then this is a world where dreams are materializing. Thoughts equal subconscious equal dreams. What this means is that the world of dreams and the world of reality are made up of the same composition. As Dom said, you never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? As such, before you know it, your fantasy is becoming reality. Reality is just an extension of a dream. Just like Ariadne, we all do not realize that what we thought was reality is, in fact, a dream. Well then, isn't there a way to distinctly recognize it? In the psychic world, we are troubled at times when we feel something bad has happened even though it has not actually happened, or when we feel things as if it is real, but in fact, they are not real. We believe that those really happened. However, when observing with a sharp eye and pursuing further, more than half of them are just in the mind, they are preconceptions. You may say, I don't make such mistakes. However, I can make an affirmation. More than half of your reality is simply preconceptions. There is no mistake in this. Regarding this statement, you will come to understand more and more as you continue to read this book, watch these videos. Why does this occur? This is because, up until now, we have not been clearly defining reality. We just glorify only the things that we want to believe in, calling it reality, and dismiss the things we don't want to believe, and call it an illusion. There are no criteria for doing so. Furthermore, while our conscious awareness says, I don't want to believe this, or I can't believe that, a good deal of the subconscious mind is thinking of the opposite thing, so that your own senses are no longer reliable. In this way, illusion and reality are forever mixed up. In the movie, Inception, it was never revealed in the end whether Dom was able to return to reality or remained in his dream. In the same way, our brains are dropped into an illusion, and we exist not knowing what is what. MJ realized that it was important to find a way to objectively separate reality from illusion. How could this be accomplished? Let's think of this in terms of water molecules. We cannot feel the water vapor in the air, however, when the water vapor collects in great amounts and turns into rain, we finally feel water. We can clearly distinguish the difference when the rain is falling from when it is not falling. Even if there were those who say, I am very sensitive, so I can feel the water vapors in the air, this does not mean that it is raining. If we treat the water vapor in the air as rain, then it would mean that it is raining every day. If there are those who begin to say, it's raining today, and yet it's a sunny day, we'll call them delusionary. For this reason, unless you actually feel the rain, you cannot call it reality. It's important to follow the rule that you do not call something that you hear or see indirectly reality. From this, MJ made the following rules. 1. The world perceived with direct senses is reality. 2. The world perceived with indirect senses is less than reality. An illusion, or a fantasy. Once thoughts build up beyond a certain point where it stimulates direct senses, then you can call it reality. Using these rules as a clear-cut dividing tool, we can begin to differentiate the worlds. What MJ saw unfold was an incredible world.